Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to the video. You guys have been waiting for this. The highly, and when I say highly, I mean highly requested. I could literally get screenshots, hundreds of them, of you guys asking for this video. The screen would be filled up. But unfortunately, I do not have time to do that. I have to get this video out as soon as possible because I did post on my latest video in the comments saying that if my comment got 150 likes in 2 hours, I was going to do this video and post it that night. And you guys got me 150 likes in about 45 minutes, so I was like, crap, I got to get to work. So here we are, guys. Welcome to Is Shatter 2K Good Enough for the Overwatch League? Today we're going to talk about a ton of stuff, and it all has to do with Shatter 2K and is he good enough for the Overwatch League. First, as I always do in these types of videos, I'm going to start off with his full Overwatch esports career, start to finish. Now, he has had a very long and good career as an Overwatch pro, so it is going to be a lengthy part of this video, and you guys will learn every single detail about his Overwatch professional history. Then after that, I'm going to talk about my personal experiences with him, what I think about him as a player, what I noticed about him, his team, and playing against him for about 5 months straight. So real quick, for those of you who do not know, I am an ex-pro player. I competed for the past 2 years at the highest level in North America, and while Shatter 2K was a pro, I did play against him a lot. And a big reason why I do these videos for you guys is so you can get a perspective from someone inside the professional community that might know a little bit more than you guys. So I will do my best to give you guys all the insight I can so you can learn if Shatter 2K was good enough for the Overwatch League or not. Unfortunately, we won't have the interview part for this video. Typically, I like to do interviews with the players when I do these types of videos, but he respectfully declined, which is fine. We'll go ahead and do it without the interview. So we're going to skip that, and we'll get to the end of the video where I'll discuss, is Shatter 2K good enough for the Overwatch League? So strap in, boys. It's going to be a great video with a ton of information. And if you're happy that I'm finally bringing it to you, drop that like. Everybody smash it. I want to get 1,000 likes on this video. Subscribe to my channel. I do Overwatch content like this all the time. Let me know down in the comments what you guys want to see next. And let's get right into this video. Starting off with his professional Overwatch career history. Now, Shatter 2K has been around for a very long time. He started off in the beta where he made YouTube videos, streamed on Twitch. He was popular for his Genji play. He played some tournaments early on in the second phase of closed beta. He competed in Gosu Gamers Overwatch Weeklies number 9, EU and NA, then Gosu Gamers Overwatch Weekly EU number 11. In the first two Gosu Gamers Weeklies, he played with the team called Tomatoes for the win. On this team, we had some familiar names, Line Pro and Lude. Unfortunately, though, in both of these tournaments, they lost in the first round. Moving on to the third Gosu Weekly, which was 2 months after the first two. He played on a team once again with Lude, but the rest of the roster was different. Again, though, they did lose in the first round. A week later, though, he would compete in the ESL Arena Open Romania, which was basically an ESL tournament for only Romanian players. He did get a taste of victory in this tournament, though, as his team did place first. This would also mark the last tournament he played in the closed beta. Moving into 2016 of June, the game was finally released to all of the public, and he competed in the Go4 Overwatch ESL European Monthly Final. They had an interesting roster with 9 players: Additonian, Clown, Likely, Mixa, Olba, Oxy, Rib, Shatter 2K himself, and Twitty. Names I recognize on this list, we have Additonian and Twitty, who played on Splice previously, and then we have Rib, who played on Cloud9. They made it past the first round in this tournament, but would eventually lose in the quarterfinals. His team would end up taking a month off from tournaments, and they'd be back in August. They competed in the Go4 Overwatch Europe Cup number 12, and they did pretty good in this tournament. They beat some decent teams, Gamers Origin, Copenhagen Flames, and they lost in the finals to Anox, a very good all-Russian team at the time, 2-3. 1 week later, he would compete in his last tournament with the OW Kings, the Lenovo Cup European Qualifier 1. They didn't do very well in this tournament. They lost in the second round and were kicked out. After this, Shatter 2K would take a 3-month break and wouldn't return to the competitive scene till December of 2016, when he competed in the Alienware Monthly Melee December with a team named Really Cool Guys, who had some very interesting players on it. This team was made shortly after Grego and Reaver were replaced on Cloud9. They built this team. They picked up Wonderfuls, Robwiz, Frisco, and then Shatter 2K. This would be the only tournament that they competed in though, and they didn't do very good. They only picked up one win against Kingdom Esports in the groups. Other than that, they got completely dominated by everybody. The team would disband after this tournament, and Shatter 2K would take a 4-month break. Mainly focused on his stream at the time, he was becoming a very popular figure in the community. He finally got a big break in his competitive career though, when he was picked up by Team Liquid. And I think while he was on Team Liquid, he learned a lot about being a professional and how to play the game with a team. He started off in the Overwatch Carbon series as his first tournament. His team finished second to last, which wasn't all that bad. They were one game away from Renegades and Complexity, and Renegades and Complexity made it to the playoffs. So it was a decent debut for him. Team Liquid looked alright in this tournament. They weren't that great. Shatter 2K specifically, he looked pretty good. The team was running full, split into 2 groups where every team would play 5 games against all the teams in their group. Team Liquid would go 4-1 in their group, beating Luminosity Gaming Loyal, FaZe Clan, You Guys Get Paid, and Tempo Storm, only dropping a game to Rogue. This would seed them into the playoffs where they played Rise Nation in the first round. They would win this 2-1 and move on to the upper bracket semifinals against Selfless Gaming. Unfortunately, they dropped this one 2-1, which put them down into the losers bracket. They would run through every single team in the lower bracket though. First the LG Evil, then CLG, then they got their revenge on Selfless in a 3-1 victory, and this was the very first time that Selfless Gaming lost a match to somebody that was not Rogue in the past month and a half. So this was a massive win for Team Liquid, and it would move them on to the finals where they would rematch Rogue. Liquid looked very good in this tournament, and what was very interesting about them, they were running the triple DPS comp, but it wasn't the one we were used to seeing. They were running Pharah on every single map. They had AZK on Tracer, Shatter 2K on either Soldier or Genji, and ID playing Pharah every single map. This team comped threw a lot of teams off, and in the finals, it almost got them the win over Rogue. Shatter 2K also looked very good on the Soldier 76, something that we never seen out of him, and overall this was a very good tournament for Team Liquid, and it looked like they were going to be one of the best teams in North America going forward. That was not the case though, because what plagued Team Liquid for their entirety of Overwatch was inconsistency. As soon as Team Liquid looked like they were going to be a good team, they were not. Every time they got hyped up, they would fall short. The next tournament they would compete in was the Overwatch Rumble April, only 1 week after the Overwatch Pit where they had major success. This was a massive tournament. Just like the Overwatch Pit, every single team in North America was competing in it, including Envious, who just got back from Korea. It was a 16-team tournament with Envious, Rogue, Cloud9, Selfless, Immortals, LG Evil, Splyce, Complexity Gaming, Counter Logic Gaming, Gale Force Esports, Tempo, Rise Nation, Envision Esports, You Guys Get Paid, NRG Esports, and then Team Liquid. Every major North American team was competing in this tournament, and with Team Liquid fresh off of a big performance in the Overwatch Pit, many people were thinking they were going to be a contender for the championship in the Rumble. They would be placed in Group D with Team Envious, NRG Esports, and Splyce, which was my team at the time. And as I mentioned before, Team Liquid was plagued by inconsistency. They would pick up their first win off of NRG Esports, lose to Envious as expected, but what was unexpected was their loss to Splyce. And I remember this match vividly. It was a best of 3. The first map was Gibraltar, the second one was Hollywood, and the third one was Volskaya. My team took Gibraltar, we first held them, we then lost Hollywood in a nail-biter in overtime, and on Volskaya, my team first held them again. Now the reason why I remember this match so vividly is because we played in front of an audience in Boston. Splyce was holding a gaming convention, and one of the highlights of it was being able to watch the Splyce Overwatch team compete. This was also on one of our last days being spit in Boston together as a team, so we really wanted to win this one. We wanted to impress our management and prove that we were a team worthy of being invested in for the Overwatch League. So everything was on the line for us, and we knew Team Liquid was going to be one of the hardest opponents, but that didn't stop us, and we took it to them. We got 2 first holds on Gibraltar and Volskaya. Their fair strategy did not work with us. Baby Bay was on Soldier and was able to deal with that. We had Graceful on Genji, I was playing Tracer, and we shut them down very hard with our aggressive playstyle. This was also the first time I competed against Shatter 2K, and the very last. I honestly can't remember struggling against Shatter or anybody on the team at the time. It really just felt like we outplayed and outclassed them in this match. My team would move on to the playoffs, where we faced Rogue in the upper bracket. We lost to them 2-0. Then we faced Selfless Gaming in the lower bracket. We lost to them 2-1 in a very close match. If you're interested in hearing about that match, I talked about it in one of my videos. It was the Is Dafran good enough for the Overwatch League? I went into good detail about that. That was also a very memorable match. And like I said, this was the very last time I competed against Shatter 2K in a tournament. I will talk more about my personal experiences with Shatter 2K and Team Liquid during the summer in a bunch of scrims later, but let's move on and finish the rest of Shatter 2K's Overwatch career. They would take a month off and then compete in next month's Alien Monthly Melee May. They didn't have that great of a performance here. They lost in the loser's second round to LG Evil. Many of you guys may remember this tournament as the infamous one where Yikes overtook Selfless Gaming and Dafran threw it on Oasis. Definitely a very interesting tournament. Again, like I said though, Team Liquid didn't perform that well in it. Shortly after this tournament, 2 weeks later, the Overwatch Contenders Season 0 qualifiers would start. And the first qualifier, Team Liquid would be matched, with every single team being able to take wins off of each other. Fortunately though, Team Liquid was barely able to make it out, with a 3-3 finish. Going into the playoffs though, Team Liquid performed very well. In the first round, they beat Envision Esports 3-0. In the semifinals, they took on FNR GFE, where they won 3-2. Then they moved on to the finals, where they would face off against Immortals, who had just recently imported Fate and Kariv from Korea. This Immortals roster was on an absolute tear and looked completely unstoppable. They would destroy Team Liquid in the finals 4-1. This would be Shatter 2K's last match with Team Liquid, as well as Team Liquid's last professional Overwatch match, as they would sell their spot in Contender Season 1 and drop their Overwatch team entirely. This was not the last time that Shatter 2K competed as a pro though. He did compete in the Overwatch Heroes Rumble 2017. It was a tournament hosted in Taiwan, where they picked random captains, Kefri, AKM, Mangachu, and Zappies. Zappies would decide to let Shatter 2K play on his team, and they lost in the very first round against Flash Wolves 3-1. And this is the very last match that Shatter 2K ever competed in as a pro. So overall, Shatter 2K has had a pretty good Overwatch career. He started off in the beta, he worked his way up, he got an opportunity with Team Liquid, and he definitely seized it. And while he was on Team Liquid, he got a wealth of competitive experience. He competed in every single major North American tournament against the best in North America for about 5 months straight. And not many players can say they actually did that, and he honestly did pretty well. Sure, he had some ups and downs, he wasn't always the best performer on his team, but I think that had a little more to do to the fact that Team Liquid overall was just very inconsistent, and when they looked good, Shatter 2K looked good. When they looked bad, Shatter 2K didn't look that great. And I honestly don't know why Team Liquid was so inconsistent from the start of their Overwatch run to the end of their Overwatch run. They were just always so very inconsistent. One moment they were good, and the very next they weren't. Maybe it was something that had to do with the players, maybe it was something that had to do with the org. One big question I do have though is, why did Team Liquid end up getting out of Overwatch? They were in it for so long, and they were definitely an organization that we thought would be buying a spot in the Overwatch League. And then even if they didn't want to get in the Overwatch League, they still had a strong team and a Season 1 contender spot. So why not use that spot and see where it goes? So there's definitely some questions there for me. To this day, I really have no idea why Team Liquid got out of Overwatch. It could be something as simple as they just didn't want to be in the Overwatch League and they preferred to go the LCS route and compete in League of Legends. But regardless, they definitely have the money backing them to get in the Overwatch League. As for Shatter 2K, like I said, he had a pretty good career overall, one that was better than most players. And I'm honestly not entirely sure what's going on with Shatter 2K right now. I know a lot of people think, why is Shatter 2K not in the Overwatch League? Of course, he's an amazing player, he should be in there. I don't know if he had any tryouts to get in the Overwatch League. I never seen him in any of the scrims that I played against the Overwatch League teams when they were trialing players. So I'm not sure if he ever had a chance to prove himself, but you do think with the talent he has and the experience, he would have at least made it onto one of the academy teams in Overwatch Contenders. But for some reason, he wasn't signed to any of the North American Contenders rosters. Maybe he's competing in EU. I don't think so though. This is why I would have liked to have interviewed him so we'd know exactly what's going on with him and where he wants to take his career. Maybe he does just want to stick around and stream and be a community figure, which you can't blame him. Dafran's doing the same thing. You can make a lot of money going that route, and it's a lot more relaxing than being a pro player. So again, I'm honestly not sure exactly what's going on with Shatter 2K, if he received any Overwatch League trials. Why is he not on an academy team at least? Does he even want to compete? Those are all great questions that I wish we could have answered. Maybe one day we will, but I don't have any of the answers today. So let's go ahead and move on to the final topics of this video. I'm going to recap on my personal experiences with him, and then I will answer the final question. Is Shatter 2K good enough for the Overwatch League? So first, let's talk about some more of my personal experiences. Unfortunately, none of them are really public. I didn't really get the opportunity to play against him in a match on a stream, so there's no footage from it. but I played a ton of scrims against Team Liquid over the summer, specifically during Contender Season 0. They were in Group A, we were in Group D, and those two groups were the hardest, so we figured it'd be a good idea to practice against each other and help each other improve so we could win our groups. Fortunately, I do believe all of the practice between my team and his team helped us both become better, and therefore we did make it out of groups to Contender Season 1. And I do believe from the start of Contender Season 0 to the very end, it was about a month and a half that Team Liquid improved so much. Prior to Contender Season 0, they did pick up Internet Hulk to become coach. I believe he helped them improve a ton, and over that time that Team Liquid was improving, I think Shatter2k was also improving a ton. He went from being a really good Genji one-trick to a player that was very scary on multiple heroes, from Soldier 76, D.Va, and even McCree. It even got to a point where I thought his Soldier 76 was his best hero. Yes, even better than his Genji. And at the time we were really in a meta that was based around Soldier, Tracer, D.Va, Winston, Lucio, and Zenyatta. It was basically a counter dive comp where you would have a soldier sit back, do a lot of poke damage. If the other team had a Pharah, you would deal with the Pharah, and you'd basically counter dive the monkey and dump all your damage on him when he jumped in. You would also have the task of defending your supports from the Tracer player, and that was my role. I would go in the back lines of other teams, distract them, try to kill their supports, make sure Shatter2k wasn't shooting my monkey, and Shatter2k was very good at staying alive, getting away from my damage, and keeping his supports alive. He also had a really nasty shot. This is a big reason why I believe his Soldier 76 was becoming his best hero. All my personal experiences really come down to scrims over the summer where we're helping each other improve. I didn't get the opportunity to play him in any matches because he was always on the other side of the bracket or in the other group. I do think Shatter2k was a good player, and he was definitely improving week by week. I would definitely like to know if Overwatch League teams are interested in giving him tryouts. He definitely built up the resume and proved that he was worthy of at least getting a tryout, so I'm going to assume and say he did get offers to trial. Now, I don't know if he turned them down or accepted them. Again, these are all questions that I would love to have had answered in an interview. But hey, it's all good. Maybe one day we'll get those answers. And this is basically it for my personal experiences with him. Let's move on to the last part. Is Shatter2k good enough for the Overwatch League? I'm sure by now you guys have realized that I thought Shatter2k was a pretty good player. So you probably think I'm going to say, yeah, he was good enough for the Overwatch League. Well, I can't exactly say yes, he's good enough for the Overwatch League. I do think he should have been given a chance to prove himself to be good enough. And I think if Team Liquid never dropped their team and he played in Contender Season 1, he would have continued to improve and definitely eventually reached a level where he would have been a solid Overwatch League player. So I do think he was a good player on Team Liquid, and he was definitely getting better near the end of his run. But it's hard to say if I think he was better than players like Dante, Agilities, Baby Bay, Linkser, Jake, Buds. All these players I just listed were performing very well at the time, and there was also a lot more. And we also got to remember that there is a very limited amount of spots in the Overwatch League, and a lot of them are being taken up by Koreans. There's very few Western DPS players in the league. I can almost count them on my fingers. So Shatter2k definitely would have had a lot of competition to get into the league. I do believe at the time he did deserve the opportunity to compete for those spots though, because just like all those other players I listed, he was playing good as well. So as I've said, I'm not sure if he got the chance to compete for those spots. If he did, then that would mean he did not make it because, of course, he's not in the Overwatch League right now. If he didn't get the chance, then I do think that's unfortunate because I think he did prove that he was good enough at the time. Shatter2k was already improving at a very good rate during summer and Season 0 contenders, so if he continued to compete during Season 1 contenders and even further, he could have been a great player. One that is definitely capable of being in the Overwatch League and maybe even being one of the best DPS players in the entire league. Of course, that did not happen. Team Liquid dropped their team, Shatter2k stopped competing, and he's basically been out of the competitive scene for a while. Despite going to Taiwan and playing in that small tournament, that doesn't really count though because it was a pug team, not an actual team put together to practice. And now you can find him on Twitch or YouTube, and he's not really doing much. He hasn't been announced for an academy team, he hasn't been announced for a Contenders EU team, and as of 1 month ago on Twitter, he posted that he was still LFT for an EU or an NA team. So other than that, I have no idea what he's doing. Let me know down in the comments, guys. What do you think? Should Kangana go out and pick up Shatter2k? I do know if he puts his mind to it and focuses on improving and becoming a great player, he would be good enough to make it in the Overwatch League. Whether it's a sub role, somebody who rides the bench, or even a starter who is very good. Those are unknown, and we would have to see if he was willing to put in the hours to improve and become a great player. So that's the best answer I can give you guys. Without some information on Shatter 2K and him not wanting to do the interview, it is very hard for me to come up with a strong conclusion. But hey, I did my best. If you're wondering where you can find or watch Shatter 2K, go down in the description and you can find all his links from his YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Go follow him, check him out. He's a great player, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys want to see next. I do apologize, guys. I was not able to get this done in time and post it last night. But hey, we got it up in the morning and now everybody can watch it throughout the day. So yeah, drop that sub, like the video. I do Overwatch League content every single day. Follow all my social medias. Follow Congarna on Twitter for updates on them. And I'm out of here, guys. Peace.